And now in this section we talk about the story and the title of the great poem, The Knight in the Panther's Skin. So we start with the story. In a nutshell, the story of the great poem, The Knight in the Panther's Skin, is about the adventures of two knights, Tariel and Avtandil. Tariel is the protagonist of the poem. He is the man that wears the tiger skin, the knight that wears the tiger skin, and Avtandil is the chief of staff of the Arab armies. So in the next step, we talk about the story in detail. Actually, the story of the great poem, The Knight in the Panther's Skin, can be divided into two parts. The first part is the search for Tariel, the protagonist of the poem. The second part is the search for Tariel's beloved, the Standarajan. So we start with the first part, the search for Tariel. One day, King Rustevan, that is, who is the king of Arabia, goes to an hunting competition with Avtandil. Avtandil is the chief of staff of King Rustevan's armies. During the competition, they take a rest, they take a break, and they rest under a tree. And all of a sudden, they see a mysterious knight crying by a river. So King Rustevan wanted very much to know who is that mysterious knight. Therefore, he sent slaves in order to contact him. But the Tariel reacts violently and kills all the slaves that were sent by King Rustevan in order to contact him, and then disappears. Tinatin is the only daughter of King Rustevan, and she loves Avtandil. Avtandil also loves Tinatin. So Tinatin asks for her beloved Avtandil to find the mysterious knight in 3 years, and in return she will marry him. So Avtandil goes to search the mysterious knight all over the world, and after 2 years and 9 months, he finds the mysterious knight. The mysterious knight tells him that his name is Tariel, and that he was the commander of India's fleet, and he also loves the Standarajan. The Standarajan is the daughter of King Panther'S, who is the king of India. But the problem was that she was abducted, and from that moment he sunk into deep depression. He was always crying and sobbing, and he also was secluded to a cave, and with only a maiden by his side. The maiden's name is Asmat, and the maiden helped him to cope with the tragedy that he underwent. So Avtandil was very moved by the story of the mysterious knight Tariel. But again, Avtandil was very moved by the story of the mysterious knight Tariel, and therefore he promised, first of all, he becomes the friend of the mysterious knight Tariel, and he also promises Tariel to help him to find his beloved, the Standarajan. So that is the first part of the story, that is the search for Tariel. The second part of the story is the search for Tariel's beloved, the Standarajan. So in the second part, actually Avtandil searches the Standarajan, Tariel's beloved, and after a lot of searching and investigations about her, he finds out that the Standarajan, Tariel's beloved, was abducted by the Kajis. The Kajis are demons. So, and therefore, Avtandil, Tariel, and Pridon, who is the ruler of the city Mugazazar, together with 300 soldiers, go to the country of the Kajis in order to rescue the Standarajan from her captivity. But the problem is that the country of the Kajis is a fortress, and it is impossible to infiltrate to that fortress. And the second problem is that The Kajis are very strong warriors. So actually it is impossible mission to rescue the standard John from a captivity by the Kajis. But against all the odds, the 300 soldiers, together with Ariel, Aftadin, and Pridon, did their unthinkable. That is to say, they succeeded to rescue the standard John from a captivity by the Kajis. The story has an happy ending in the sense that Aftadin marries Tinatin and Ariel marries his beloved, the standard John. So that is the story of the great poem, The Knight in the Panther's Skin. The next step, I'll talk about the title of the great poem. Actually, it is not clear if the animal in the poem is a panther or a tiger, so we'll assume that it is a tiger, and therefore the title of the great poem is The Knight in the Tiger Skin. The knight is Tariel, who is the protagonist of the poem, and is the knight, Tariel is the knight that wears the tiger skin. Actually, there is a particular chapter in the poem that talks about Tariel that kills a lion and a tiger. And the story of that particular chapter is as follows. One day, Tariel sees a lion that was chasing after a tiger. So Tariel thought that the lion's intention is to kill the tiger. And therefore, in order to save the life of the tiger, he kills the lion and then goes to the tiger in order to hug her. But the tiger was very angry on the lion because of the fact that the tiger and the lion was not fighting, but they were just playing a game. And therefore, the tiger starts to eat Tariel very strongly with his paws. So Tariel could bear no more the blows of the tiger, and therefore he eats back the tiger, and with one blow he kills the tiger. So it is actually a very tragic story because of the fact that Tariel risked his life in order to save the tiger from the hands of the lion, but at the end of the story he was the one that killed the tiger. So Tariel is very angry on himself. And therefore he decides to wear the tiger skin. The tiger skin is used as a coat for Tariel. So actually there are two reasons that Tariel wears the tiger skin. The first reason, because of the fact that it is a reminder for him that he killed the tiger that he loved so much, and the second reason is because of the fact that it also reminds him his beloved Nestanda Rajan that was abducted twice. Why it reminds him Nestanda Rajan? Because of the fact that the face of the tiger is very similar to the face of Nestanda Rajan, his beloved. But again, there are two reasons that Tariel wears the tiger's skin. The first reason, because of the fact that it reminds him the tiger that he killed, the tiger that he killed that he loved so much, and it also reminds him his beloved Nestanda Rajan that was abducted twice. We know that the tiger's figure is a very important figure in the poem. Why? Because of the fact that the name of the poem is The Knight in the Tiger Skin. The knight, Tariel, who is the protagonist of the poem, that wears the tiger skin. But the question is, why the tiger's figure is a very important figure in the poem? Because of the fact that, as I already mentioned before, the tiger's face was very similar to Tariel's beloved face, the Nestanda Rajan. Okay, thank you very much.